everyday right fielder last season, hit .320 as a sophomore, 1 for 8 in this series. Got LSU on the board Friday with the home run out to the porches in left field. They'll try to push it the opposite way again in foul territory. 8th start this season for Evan Blanco in his first year as a volunteer. Transfer portal get who spent 3 years at Virginia. Brown, hard ground ball. Jay Abernathy starting at second base for Tennessee, makes the play.
And the ball's with a perfect scouting report right there. Abernathy deep in the hole. Just a routine play right there to get Brown out.
Abernathy had a clutch RBI double in the start last night for Tennessee. He's been given the nod, back in the lineup today. It has been a rotating door this weekend for Tennessee at that second base spot. Specific, Tyler Myatt, Blake Grimmer, and now Abernathy. 2 up, 2 down for LSU in the first. Omar Cerna Jr., freshman catcher, in for the first time.
We talk about Blanco and his pitchability right there. Starting the bat out with a fastball, then pulling the string on a changeup. The guy, very good mixing all 3 pitches, and when he's at his best, all 3 of them were for strikes.
Cerna will push this one foul right field way. 1-2 count for the talented freshman for this Tiger team from Houston. 20th start of his first campaign with the Tigers as a top 50 player in the freshman class.
Go up like that, you're seeing a lot of swing and miss stuff, but the guy, 182 whip, only 5 walks. The guy that's gonna attack hitters in the zone. We've seen a couple barrels this year.
His 10th total outing on the year. The numbers are good, but his first start as a Tiger in his first this season. Tennessee yesterday. Obviously, not a lot of production, but they were meaningful when they needed it. 3 hits was all it took for this lineup to get the job done. 2 of those hits came with runners on.
Yeah, and Blake Grimmer has been fantastic this weekend. One of the guys coming up huge with 2 home runs on the weekend. And it's kind of the question, who's it going to be today for both sides of it? For Tennessee, get into that game, who's going to be in the bullpen? For LSU, who in the lineup's going to be able to make it an impact on this game?
Slight tweaks from Josh Elander as he moves Blaine Brown down in the lineup. Reese Chapman moves up to that 2 spot. Do you like the decision?
I do. I think it's one of those things. Blaine Brown's struggling a little bit the last couple of weeks, looking to get hot. Last Sunday, 3 for 5 with a big home run against Vandy. So it's there, but Reese Chapman's been so consistent all year, and that's kind of what you want in your 2-hole, a little bit of consistency.
Josh Elander in his first season as Tennessee's head coach, spent the last 3 as associate head coach, 5 prior as an assistant, so this in total is his 9th season. He has seen a lot of these Tennessee LSU matchups over the years. A series that has transformed into a rivalry series with how potent lineups have been, how great pitching staffs have been. Obviously, 3 national championships combined from the 2 teams in the last 3 years. LSU in 23-25, and then Tennessee with their first in 2024.
Yeah, when you have 2 teams that just have the history over the last 5 years of being as good as they have, it's going to be competitive. It's just 2 teams that are stacked top to bottom with talent. And when you have that, you got guys that are super competitive and want to go out and win.
Jay Johnson had scheduled Gavin Guidry, redshirt junior, to be the Sunday starter before this series commenced. Turns the ball over today to Grant Fontenot. First batter he faces, runs in and hits what Tennessee calls Garrett Reyna a ball magnet. It just seems to always find him.
He does, and that's exactly what you expect out of him in the leadoff spot. He's a guy, does a little bit of everything. Primarily a catcher, but he walks, he bunts, he gets hit by pitch, he hits singles, hits home runs. It's kind of a unique guy for a catcher. great athlete, but right there, like you said, just a magnet. 97 to the back.
And Tennessee only had 3 hits yesterday offensively. They were good when they had runners on and taking advantage of moments, but free passes hurt LSU. Tennessee's combined for now 11 walks on the weekend, and then obviously the error in the first inning brought in 2 runs. Defensively, not a good game yesterday for the Tigers. A pair of pass balls also hurt LSU. Another one that's off the mitt, this time from Omar Cerna. There was issues yesterday with this exact situation with Cade Arambidi. Tennessee now puts right in scoring position.
Yeah, Fontenette not looking too settled in really early with that front side, just letting things sail arm side up and away. The Vols are looking to capitalize right here. When we talk about it, walks, errors, those are things that lose baseball games, especially as close as these games have been. It's the little things that causes a difference between a weekend win and a loss.
It'll be an instant RBI chance for Reese Chapman, a veteran on this Tennessee ball club, their biggest returner from last year and 13 home runs a season ago. He's put together a nice highlight reel this weekend. Home run on Friday night and then robbed another one in that series opener. No hits yesterday, but 3 in game 1. Strike 2 called as Chapman was about ready to jog down the first baseline, and he doesn't like the call.
And Chapman, who's grown up a lot, has a great sense of the zone, and really thought that one was a little low for his liking.
One down in the home half of the first for Tennessee. It sets the table now for Henry Ford. Another Virginia transfer. Tennessee got 2 of them out of the portal. Blanco starting today. Ford in the 3 spot.
And Ford looking to pick it up a little bit quieter of a weekend for him. A little eager at the plate. We'd like to see a little bit more patient, waiting to get his pitch. Expecting him to have a big day today.
Just 1 for 7 on the weekend, but he has been as advertised this season. Leads the team in average, home runs, RBIs. Just a professional approach. And that was hummed in. 97 from Fontenot. That's what you love from him. It's the velocity profile, and that's back-to-back Ks.
Yeah, and first look for me watching them, and that fastball has some jump on it. 97, and just Chapman and Ford not having a chance to catch up with it.
And Fontenot is a heater-first mindset. And an interesting decision here already in the first. LSU will intentionally walk Blake Grimmer, who has hurt them both games this week.
Yeah, Grimmer winning the game pretty much yesterday for the Vols, and I don't mind it right here. Manny Marin, who's struggled all year against velocity. I think they really like this matchup with Marin and Fontenette.
Obviously, Fontenot the lefty, Grimmer being a lefty. It was a good matchup for him, and he's been hot. Manny Marin has not gotten a hit this weekend. And just the way he's humming this fastball just makes it so difficult for righties.
Yeah, and that's what Jay Johnson kind of wanted coming into this game with Fontenette. They knew the stuff was electric. It's just, could we get the consistency out of it? And so far, it's looked really good.
I mean, the pop on the mitt right now from Fontenot, it is crisp.
That's fantastic. It's a big body up there. I mean, it's a senior who wants to help his team in any way, and Jay Johnson calling on him to get the start, and he's answered so far.
Marin pushes it back. It's been a hitless weekend for Manny Marin, but it's all come from balls put in play. No strikeouts yet.
Yeah, it's a guy that he's going to make contact, and I felt like so far he's such an early swing decider. Right out of the hand, he's rather, hey, am I going to go after it or not, and just hasn't found that open piece of grass yet.
2 aboard for Tennessee. Right away here in the first, they They got 2 runs in the first yesterday in game 2 as a result of an error over at first base. Aaron in the air, foul territory. Tigers ranging over. Brown gave a slide, ran out of real estate. Brown made a fantastic catch into the netting earlier this weekend. Covers a lot of ground in right field.
And LSU with probably one of
teams that have met in the postseason now. LSU knocked Tennessee out of the College World Series in 2023 when they went on to win that national championship. Jay Johnson's second season. Tennessee eliminated LSU in a super regional in 2021. That was Paul Maneri's last coach game as a Tiger. Curiel, a rare strikeout.
Yeah, Blanco again. When he is on, he's using all 3 pitches, and right there, slider in and out of the zone. That's something you got to do with Curiel. Listening back to the weekend, he has a 95% in zone contact rate, which is top of the country. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been a tough get all weekend. 4 hits and 8 at-bats until that strikeout. Stephen Milam wasting no time. Flies one into the air, a late jump from Garrett Wright in center field. Long range over for Manny Marin, but he makes the play.
Yeah, Marin making that play look a lot easier than it is. Anytime you got a shortstop drifting back like that, any bit of wind or movement causes that ball to spin a little bit, but Marin does it better than about anybody in the country.
2 up, 2 down for LSU in the second. Here's Zach York, starting first baseman in for the Tigers, transfer from Grand Canyon. And a quick timeout called, and LSU will gather with Jay Johnson. Talk about a strategy here. Nothing going so far for LSU offensively. Again, struggles yesterday. 4 home runs in game 1. A team that has dealt with early offensive struggles this year, but we're starting to find stability entering this weekend. York has certainly dealt with his struggles. 161 average, no home runs in SEC play. But a guy certainly with plenty of power.
York transfer from Grand Canyon, just phenomenal there. 320 hitter, lifetime over there. A guy that's really been pitched too well this year. He's a guy that inner half of the plate dominates, but when you start getting away, he struggles a little bit more.
It's an LSU offense that they've dealt with some injuries throughout the season. They have tried to figure out where guys fit in this lineup. They returned 4 with crucial College World Series experience last year. Jay Johnson, LSU, always going to be aggressive in the transfer portal, meshing new guys into this lineup. Two. Crushed foul from York. LSU as a team entering Ribbon culture in a hurry.
No, for sure, and it's one of those things where you go to Omaha and you have the success, and to have that success, you have good players, and those good players go to the draft. So every year it's that little puzzle. How do we put these guys together? Who's leaving? Who's coming back? How do we keep the culture the same within these organizations?
I think to that 2023 LSU team, they won the national championship. That next year, they lost just about everyone. It's a completely different look. Team that had their fair share of struggles. They just got into the NCAA tournament field that year. This year, coming off of a national championship, they retain a bit more than they did that year. Had some critical guys back in the lineup that played a big part in hoisting that title. But it is very quickly back to business as Blaine Brown fouls that one away. With teams now with the expectations of LSU and Tennessee, you don't celebrate for too much longer. And when you do bring in new guys, they didn't experience that title. They didn't get to live that fun. They want to do it themselves. Blaine Brown will go down swinging. Another strikeout for Fontenot, his third.
Yeah, Fontenot just feeling it right now. The fastball is heavy. He's got two of them. The four-seam rides, and right there, the two-seam just has that little bit of run.
One up, one down. As Brown goes down swinging. Trent Grendlinger, Tennessee freshman who has gotten starts in all three this weekend at the DH spot. Freshman from Huntington Beach, California.
Grendlinger only 1 for 6 on the weekend. But when we talk about these stats that go unnoticed, I mean, he's a quality at-bat king. He's one of these guys that's going to work ABs, find walks, move guys over, just do whatever's necessary up there.
Part of a crowded Tennessee catcher room. Tennessee is without Stone Lawless. Left the game last week in that Vanderbilt series. Just a really scary moment. He was hit in the face. He is out with a facial fracture. Still undecided how long it'll keep him out for. Grendlinger just showing so much. Went on Friday night in game one. It left them 5-1 in their last 6. A little bit of a speed bump yesterday, but a chance for back-to-back series wins. And again, April is such a big month. Teams are really made in April as you spring towards that postseason moments in May. Strike three as Evan Blanco continues to be in a groove. That's his 4th strikeout.
Now for Blanco, the off-speed's been fantastic today. Mixing between that slider and changeup right there with the slider, just keeping guys off balance.
Redmond, you mentioned it was not the best start last week for Blanco for Tennessee against Vanderbilt. 3 innings, 6 earned runs, 9 total. Just wasn't as crisp, Josh Elander said. It was missing on the off speed. It was a day in which the ball flight was certainly carrying in Nashville, and it certainly did not play to his advantage.
And Blanco's one of those guys that all of his pitches play better when the secondary's good. The fastball has a little bit of jump to it, but isn't as effective if you can't land the secondary stuff.
The sophomore Cade Arambidi stand again, Texas native. Lays off that fastball, 92 from Blanco. Arambidi was 0 for 1 yesterday. What was his start at the catcher spot? Did not play in game one, wasn't in the lineup. 2-2 on the ground, and it's into left field. First hit for LSU. Arambidi aboard.
Arambidi with a good swing right there, just finding that 6-hole. The guy that's worked at bats really well this weekend, like I said, only a small sample size, but right there, hanging back on the off speed and finding the hole on the left side of the field.
A guy who made the most with his limited moments as a freshman, started 19 games last year. He's one of the top high school catchers in the 2024 class. And is the first base runner for LSU off Evan Blanco. Was 15 straight retired for LSU last night. And it was 7 straight to start this game.
And then you talk about April being a huge month. Just to get momentum, and for both teams, it starts today. Being able to have a series win that kind of gets you rolling. You got so much baseball left in the year, and everybody's looking to that 15-win mark in the SEC, which kind of solidifies you a spot of possibly hosting a regional. But it starts now. If you want to get to that point, you got to start winning now.
Sunday is incredibly important in the SEC. LSU got their first series win, Sunday win over Kentucky last week. And Tennessee obviously a devastating loss last Sunday at Vanderbilt. Walk-off grand slam from the Commodores. The whole mood changes when you can win on a Sunday.
And the thing with both of these teams is they've been competitive in every game. And both of these teams have the opportunity, have the talent to make a run and be able to eventually make Omaha. Just, you look up and down between, you got guys throwing 95 to 99, great arms, got bats that are hitting home runs. The talent's there, it's just putting those pieces together.
Seth Dardar in the air, back behind the LSU dugout. LSU has shown off some power. They haven't strung together the big inning aside from that grand slam, followed by the Dardar back-to-back home runs Friday night. Yesterday they left bases loaded in the second, 2 in scoring position in the 5th. Didn't find that big inning yesterday. Couldn't string anything together.
And we used to have a saying that solos don't beat you, and this LSU team has strung together 4 home runs on the weekend, which has compiled all of their runs, but what really has done the most damage is the 4-run grand slam that Curiel hit after 3 walks. And anytime you can get guys on and put a crooked number up there, it adds a little bit of impact.
Jay Johnson's really stretched 2 out hitting to his guys. 3 of those home runs Friday came with 2 outs. Felt like an LSU team that was built for that moment. They had a comeback win last week against Kentucky. And then obviously on Friday, wins like that are real confidence gainers. String together some comebacks, you feel like you're never really out of a game. If you're Tennessee, you're being left in situations where you have blown leads like that. It can be demoralizing. So the fact they were able to wake up the next day and get back a win, it's not easy to do. It's a very mental process.
And with baseball being so mental from all aspects of it, it does seem that way. You start feeling that way in the bullpen, like, man, I don't want to blow this chance or blow this win. You start to kind of
just trickles off York's glove. A crucial error York made down the line yesterday that resulted in 2 runs for Tennessee. Second error on the weekend for LSU. Second error on Zach York. It has been an infield that has struggled with errors this year.
LSU coming into today, 964 fielding percentage, 14th in the SEC and 219th in the country. Just has not been good defensively.
Tigers really built their championship DNA last season in just unpenetrable defense. It was one of the best defensive teams in LSU history, maybe even collegiate history. As that play and that throw from Brown brought Cerna and Wright together. Wright scores, giving Tennessee the lead, but obviously the concern here was that collision.
Yeah, always a scary one. The throw taking him up the line a little bit, and Wright looking like he's trying to get out of the way a little bit, just gets his head, and it's always one of the worst parts about baseball.
Almost felt unavoidable there as Jake Brown's throw took Cerna off his line. And Wright just a full head of steam trying to give Tennessee the early advantage there.
And from both sides, it's a tough play. Wright barreling home, trying to score, and the catcher, Omar Cerna, just trying to make a play right there, trying to end the inning.
Garrett Wright and Omar Cerna. It takes the LSU freshman catcher out of the game. Garrett Wright inevitably does score to give Tennessee the lead. Blake Grimmer again intentionally walks. That's the second time that LSU has decided not to play around with Grimmer and instead face Manny Merritt.
Yeah, and for LSU, their thought today is we're not going to let Grimmer beat us. And so far, it's worked well for them.
That 0-2 is low to Marin again. No hits for Marin on the weekend. He's 0 for 8, but all balls in play. He'll be the first to get a look at Zach Cowan, first team All-SEC in 2025. Out in front, back towards the LSU dugout. It's an LSU staff that has had to really step up without Cooper Moore, who's dealing with a tricep injury, who had been really good in 6 prior starts. Unexpected loss of a weekend arm at the start of SEC play. Not favorable by any means. Practically a new look pitching staff as well from last year's team. But Cowan, a guy who gave some big time innings during their run. 60 strikeouts in 52 innings, mostly as a bullpen guy. Marin out in front of it, slow roller. Milam as good as it gets, but that throw is errant. Oh my goodness. Second error of the inning for LSU, and that is one of their surefire guys, and Stephen Milam, who throws it offline.
Yeah, Milan, who hasn't made an error all year, rushed it just a little bit, had more time to probably get a shuffle in there, and just giving the balls an opportunity to have a huge inning.
If you're Seth Dardar, though, you're going to say, should have squeezed it.
Should have. If you turn into a first baseman at that point, you get the stride, you got to catch it and secure an out right there. Yeah, and the question coming into the day, who was going to be the guy? Who was going to be
LSU, and they weren't just, they were almost inexplicable errors.
Yeah, just lack of judgment.
Communication, Reese Chapman takes it over.
And if there's a team to do it, LSU is that team. Last week, putting themselves in a hole against Kentucky, scraping back out of it. But today, self-inflicted wounds. Two huge errors in the last inning that led to just the balls exploding and taking a 5-0 lead.
You think from Tennessee's perspective, they had, after Friday night, 4 straight losses in SEC play in almost the most brutal fashion. That is a 1-out double for Yaman, who steps into this game fresh out of the dugout after Omar Cerna had to depart.
And Yaman coming off the bench cold. One of those conversations came here in 24 and did some damage against the balls.
Yeah, that's a conversation. It's a very rare moment when you have a DH. When your DH is the catcher, if you put him in that catcher spot, you can't just throw the DH label elsewhere.
Yeah, you have to, then you burn your DH spot, and whoever's pitching at the time goes up to bat. So if you have a starter who's rolling out there, you got to make the decision. Do we pinch hit for him? Do we go to the bullpen? Do we leave that guy in? So it's that little conversation you have to have.
It's just one of those situations you never expect to be in. It has to take a freak accident like that where Cerna has to leave the game. It looked like he was out there down the line. It looked like just obviously a brutal collision left him stunned and frozen for a bit, and you have to go on the side of caution. You can't run him back out there.
And that's one of those things with Jay Johnson and Cerna. Your first thing is your thoughts and prayers go to for him to be okay, and then after that it's what's the game plan, what's the action, how do we roll forward with our second or third string catcher.
This is where you have to hope that your depth pays off. You're an LSU and Tennessee team. It's a pecking order. It's hard to crack the lineup. The catcher room is really going to show their depth today, and a lot of focus will obviously be on Yaman the fourth if he sticks behind the dish the rest of the way.
And Yaman already making an impact with a great swing right there and giving them maybe a touch of life right here to the Tigers.
Derek Curiel, 4 hits on the weekend. They'll take ball 4, so 2 aboard for LSU with 1 out. First walk allowed from Evan Blanco today.
And coming to the plate, Monster Milam, a guy who's a big game player. His whole career at LSU has just put big swings on it, and last inning making an error right here, looking to do some damage and erase a little bit of the chaos he created.
The LSU's made 40 errors as a team, but that was his first.
Yeah, when everything seems so down, you knew at short we had a staple of guy that has been perfect on the year.
But you mentioned it's a guy who's a veteran in this LSU lineup. 3-year Tiger starter. So you get the feeling he's going to be very level-headed in a moment and not let it get too emotional, but a great chance for him to immediately deliver on the other end. This one flashed out towards left center. Garrett right on the run, and he's going to make the catch. Yaman will tag up. Runners on the corners with 2 down for LSU.
Yeah, and Blanco just focusing back in, getting some contact to center, and then right, making the smart play, going to second right there, making sure there's only one guy in scoring position.
And so 2 outs, RBI opportunity here for Zach York, as he was a part of the error stretch that LSU had last inning that came back to bite him.
And York hitless on the weekend, 0 for 8. A guy that has light tower power, just needs some kind of confidence boost, something to get him going.
Yeah, just hasn't found that groove in SEC play yet. He is 0 for 8 this weekend here in Knoxville. Blanco just missed there on the fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike. He's pitched 3 2/3 innings now, surpassing his start last week against Vandy. He was so good in his last home start against Missouri. 7 2/3, in which he only allowed 1 earned run and 4 hits against the Tigers.
And he's been consistent all year, and last week, a couple just defensive blunders behind him had him lose a little bit of momentum.
Just a wild weekend for Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Just, again, if you're LSU, you know this Tennessee team, they've had a history of losing these late leads, so you have to know that at moments like these, you're never out of it. They got a throwing error on Jake Brown down the right field line on that collision. Levi Clark will shoot one up to center. Curiel right there. And the throwing error, you don't mind that one. That's a play you got to make. You just got to fire it home. Yes, if it was accurate, you might have gotten right. But then also, your guy at short, Stephen Milam, hasn't made a mistake all year. Just a throw that escapes him, and Seth Dardar could have squeezed it and didn't.
And you kind of lean on that junior shortstop to stop the bleeding a little bit. You get bases loaded, and a routine play that just pulls the second baseman up the line a little bit. And again, just Tennessee doing a great job of capitalizing on the moment.
Abernathy in the air. Curiel has it for the second out. A Friday night, number 2 Texas and number 20 Texas A&M will begin a huge 3-game series right in College Station. We'll have it for you on the SEC Network and ESPN app. Coverage of that first game Friday in what is called the Lone Star Showdown Series. That's at 8 Eastern 7 Central. Life rolls on in the SEC. So many teams vying at the top. And it doesn't get any easier. If you can't win these Sundays, talking about how crucial Sundays are, it tends to bleed into that next week. Tennessee could say that for the way they lost that Sunday to Vanderbilt, about as devastating as it gets. That bled in a little bit to that Friday loss.
It did, and you saw a mirror of what happened to Tennessee through the weekend at Vandy, and again, that damage to see for you, and that's what makes it fun to come out to the ballpark and see these guys before they become big leaguers. I mean, you look up the Garrett Crochets, the Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, guys that have been fantastic SEC players and doing it at the next level, at a very high level.
Yeah, just hard to imagine that Paul Skeens was on a college campus 3 years ago, and just how dominant he is for that Pittsburgh Pirate team. And that was year 2 of the Jay Johnson experience, and he has come in and taken LSU to even another level that they're used to. Expectations always high, obviously, for an LSU team. They're certainly facing a moment here where they have to try to flush some of these past mistakes. They've been a good offensive team late in ball games throughout this last recent stretch of SEC play. Aaron Beatty in the air, not going to stay in the field of play. And they're facing quite the conundrum with Cade Aaron Beatty being the DH in this game, that they can't just slot him into the catcher role without sacrificing some further offense down 5 runs.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's going to be who's the guy for this Tigers offense to get it going. Curiel has been great all weekend, but outside of that, a couple home runs by a few guys, but really not the highlighted stat lines we've seen all year from the Tigers.
Three-two count for Aaron Beatty. Aaron Beatty, his second hit. First run allowed from Evan Blanco, who gave up a pair of home runs last week against Vanderbilt.
And as a Tennessee fan, you hold your breath a little bit. LSU team this year that's made some comebacks, had some big comeback wins, and Tennessee on the flip side of it has had a tough time in the second half of games being able to bring the right guys in to pitch and to hold those leads.
Yeah, you saw the bullpen disaster on Friday night for Tennessee. Brandon Arvidsson came in, 3 walks right out of the bullpen. You expect him to be available at some point again today, and you assume Tennessee will go to him. Looking for a better outing this time around. Blanco at 72 pitches. He has been really solid through 4 innings, and that is the first run allowed. No outs in the 5th to Aaron Beatty, a solo home run. And now Seth Dardar flies this one deep center field, backing up right at the track, just short of leaving the yard again. LSU is hunting for back-to-back jacks.
And the Tigers starting to get some barrels on the ball, and Blanco seeing the fastball. We talked about earlier in the game, Blanco commanding the secondary stuff unbelievably, landing both pitches for strikes. Not seeing as much here later in the game. Change-up slider, 50% clip as we approach the 5th inning, and something that, if he's going to have success, needs to get back to.
Tennessee sparking some life out in the bullpen. Back to the top of this LSU order. No one on and 1 out. Chris Stanfield in. He is 0 for 2 in this one. 2 hits on the weekend. Hit a home run in game 1. Talk about a Tigers lineup that just hasn't hadn't really been settled in and honed in to its fullest potential early. They missed this guy, Chris Stanfield, for a month of non-conference play. Not having a guy as experienced as him, as much of a heartbeat as he is for this team in the lineup, that obviously hurts.
Yeah, well, anytime you get a 300 hitter, that's a senior on the team out of the lineup, you lose a little bit of production in there, but him at the top of the lineup, just guy that gets on base, helps his Tigers offense out so much.
Sharp line drive, Henry Ford lays out for the snag.
And Stanfield doing everything right here, turning on a fastball. And Ford, we talked about preparation, being ready. Great first step right there to get to that ball.
Ford has had a really good defensive weekend in that hot corner. He doesn't make that play. That is 2 bases assuredly for Chris Stanfield.
Yeah, and 2 bases with the meat of your order coming out. The 3 best hitters in your lineup, and Brown, Coryell, and Milam, makes it a little bit tougher look for the Vols this inning.
You don't want to leave too many on base for this guy, Jake Brown. 40 RBIs on the year and 12 home runs. Only damage was that solo shot early in game 1, the first run of this whole series. Since he's been quiet.
And guys,
they're here last against Missouri. It's a Vanderbilt series with all kinds of runs. An offense that has shown some life at times in this series. You'd say Friday night didn't have late offense that they needed in that game, but they did just enough with ample opportunities yesterday. And then obviously the breakout 3rd inning here has been the difference. Chapman, hard hit ball right into the shift, and a clean exchange that time from Dardar and York. It was Chapman who reached on an error on a very similar ball last time up.
And for the Vols, again, just a different team, different identity. Fans are so used to seeing the long ball, and this team's had to figure out how to do without it. But this weekend, some big home runs have led to some energy and to some run production.
Here's Henry Ford. Credited with an RBI sacrifice fly last time around. Got Tennessee their first run. Throw across the diamond in time from Pearson for out number 2.
And Cohen working fast right here. Just 4 pitches to record 2 outs. Trying to get his offense back in there and trying to keep the Tennessee offense at bay. Just the quicker you can get back into the dugout and give your guys a chance, the better you are.
They will not walk Blake Grimmer this time around. Back-to-back intentional walks. Last 2 times he stood in, there were guys on base. So if the base is empty and 2 outs, they will pitch to the power lefty. Grimmer missed some time early in the season. But he certainly provided a good jolt of power for a team that hasn't had a lot of power at times this year. He's done some damage this weekend in a big way.
And Grimmer, just a talented player on this Tennessee lineup, able to play multiple positions, but has found a home in that 4-hole. Elander mixing with that lineup early in the year, starting to lead off, and maybe wasn't the right fit for him, but as soon as he slid him down, just the production shot up.
And Josh Elander still trying to craft the lineup that he thinks fits this team best. Moves Reese Chapman to the 2 spot, Blaine Brown back to the 6 spot, and obviously that has paid off today with what Blaine Brown did in the 3rd inning, grand slam. 1-2 for Zach Cowan. And it's low. Cowan last week against Kentucky, 3 2/3. No runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. It was the best he's ever looked, according to Jay Johnson. That's saying something. He's had some great outings.
And it's a guy coming back that's just been a staple point for the LSU Tigers.
That's in the air, left side. The shift was on, not too many bodies over there. Yeah, Cowan had a really good start. He's a guy that can give you some big innings. He started 17 games in 2024 for Wofford, and then started in the College World Series against Arkansas last year and was incredible through 5 1/3. So if you're LSU, you're kind of turning to Cowan. He could be one of your answers while Cooper Moore is out on Sundays. Maybe not in a starting role, but an opener situation and give you some heavy lift innings.
Oh, and it's always nice to have that Swiss Army knife. Tennessee's had guys like that, Camden Sewell, Brandon Arvidsson, guys that you could kind of turn to and be whatever you needed to them. Long relief, short relief, starts.
Yeah, it's been the recipe that's worked for Cam Appenzeller so far for Tennessee. LSU still with some bullpen pieces available. Gavin Guidry was supposed to start this game. He hasn't thrown this weekend. Assume you might see him at some point in this game. Very disciplined at bat here for Blake. As Yaman's in the air, charge over. And Blake Grimmer covers that pop fly in foul territory for the first out.
And the ball's just doing a great job all day getting to those balls. A couple tough plays. Anytime you got to come in as a first baseman, running up on the dugout, it's a little scary, a little bit in the back of your head, but doing a great job of getting those outs.
For LSU, this is the heart of the lineup. Derek Curiel, Stephen Milam on deck. Just 3 hits today for the Tigers. Tennessee just has 3 hits as well, but again, the difference in the last 2 days is the Vols have capitalized with runners on more so than LSU. Curiel on the ground, Manny Marin. Efficient start to this inning for Evan Blanco. 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, Manny Marin has some of the best pace as a shortstop that I've seen in the league. Just works through the ball very well, very calm, knows his timing. See, watch here, hard hit ball, got a good runner, knows he has time, gets 2 shuffle in, makes a strong throw.
Only blemish today for Evan Blanco. It's the home run from Kane Arambidi last inning. Tennessee got the bullpen out and moving last inning, but very calm start back out here for the 6th. On a Sunday where it feels like a must-win if you're Tennessee. You want to have stability, and Evan Blanco has provided that today. Just very cool, very calm, and that's what an experienced pitcher does for you.
Oh, for sure, and it's one of those things. He started to scuffle a little bit there last inning, kind of losing the secondary stuff, but right here, really attacking the zone with all 3 pitches again.
It's going to skip away from ball 1. You see the maturity, being able to bounce back from a rough start last Sunday. Not his best stuff against Vanderbilt. He's been in control today.
Andy, you talk about how big of a game it is from Tennessee. Difference in 4 and 8 and 5 and 7 SEC is in the back of your head. You know, hey, we're only 1 series away from jumping to plus 500 in the SEC.
Milam in the air and foul. Yeah, it feels like a must-win because, one, if you're Tennessee, you're coming off a sweep. 1 for 10 entering that at-bat in which he connected for a grand slam, the difference in this game.
And for Brown, it's an approach thing. The guy's probably the most talented attribute hitter on this team, the power, the speed.
And a cue ball shot down the line, just foul, could have been extra bases. Yeah, there's no question that the talent is there, and we've seen flashes of brilliance from Blaine Brown. He's a two-way athlete as well. He's 3 outings on the mound in midweeks. All the tools, a lot of excitement when you think of even next year's draft when he'll be draft eligible, but still parts of his game he's learning. He's still very young and inexperienced.
As we talked about with York for the Tigers, a guy that dominates the inner half of the plate. He can pull the ball off the scoreboard, hit up the middle, but it's when he starts getting soft away and fastballs away, he struggles a little bit.
Yeah, but it's a
team, the momentum they need going into Sunday.
It's a Tennessee team that often described as having no lack of passion. And with Josh Elander, a coach, you lose a big passion factor, in which was Tony Vitello. He brought that energy from the dugout. And just because the makeup's different, you still need those energy guys. As Zach York picks that one up himself, retires Brown. But a moment like that, with Blaine Brown being as fired up as he was, and then Cam Appenzeller last night, you still need that energy.
Yeah, momentum's a real thing, and baseball's where it is the most. If you can feel that energy, that grind from other guys that want to, it's kind of contagious in a way. When you have those guys on there, you want to play better, you want to repeat that energy and kind of have that mindset.
Two up, two down here in the inning. Trent Grinlinger, 1 for 2 today. Had a single in the second, a highly talented freshman. That's the other thing about this Tennessee team. It's a very young team. No one looks at what you did in March and holds any weight on it when you get to the end of the season. So their hope all year has been, hey, we're going to get a lot better. In kind of middle of the pack here, LSU, if they can come back in this one right at 500, Tennessee trying to get to 5-7, you still have to feel very comfortable. There's so much season left, and every weekend provides just different question marks. Like, well, how did Mississippi State get swept at home? Like, how does Auburn come back in that game? I mean, even last week, how does Vandy have 3 walk-offs against Tennessee? You just never know. Evan Blanco just so dialed in at the moment. He freezes Zach York, his second strikeout of the day.
And Blanco just attacking him with a slider right there. Just great placement. For York, you're thinking that's running off the plate, and Levi Clark doing a great job of sticking that pitch.
6 strikeouts for Evan Blanco, up to 98 pitches. First pitch swinging, John Pearson fouled away. And he has made things a lot easier on Josh Elander and pitching coach Josh Reynolds in terms of what they're going to do with the bullpen today. A bullpen that has been shaky on a pair of Sundays in SEC play this year.
And when you can get the length out of the start as you have from Blanco today, it makes it a little bit easy on the back half. Guys have a little bit shorter leash. You get a rested bullpen. Guys can come back and be dominant for shortened spurts.
Smooth sailing for Evan Blanco. You see the breakdown.
And we talked about John Pearson, an extra base hit machine, just doing damage on a missed pitch from Blanco right there. Blanco working up and in on Pearson. Pearson just getting the barrel out and making them pay. Hitting one into the porches and left.
John Pearson proving he is an everyday caliber bat. Still a small sample size in his sophomore year, but that's now 6 home runs. Entering this series, just 44 at-bats. You imagine that that's just going to keep rising this year.
Yeah, he's a guy, when he gets a hold of it, he does some damage. Very low center of base right there and just stays through the ball.
Tennessee has Levi Clark behind the plate, just getting the gear figured out, and maybe just a little bit of a pause just so the bullpen can get straightened out, because Josh Elander is going to make the move. Have to credit Evan Blanco, just 2 solo shots, the only damage for LSU, and he did a great job of keeping things stable as Tennessee needed him to do on this Sunday.
Yeah, leaving guys on base, a base loaded situation, guys on first and third, not allowing runs. The only damage coming off the 2 solos. Blanco with the outing the balls you don't look for to. You want to have a big lead going into it in these close games, and you burn Appenzeller yesterday throwing 70 pitches. Who do you turn to in the back half?
4th solo home run today, and the Tigers are back within a run.
Attacking hit.
3 consecutive death by solo home run for Tennessee here in the 7th. And Vol faithfuls can only look away because a nightmare again feels almost like routine. Josh Elander back to the pen. Brandon at LSU dugout. The Tiger faithful who have traveled to Knoxville starting to get on their feet. It has been 3 straight home runs, all solo. 4 of them in the game is all of LSU's run output, and we said, you know, that's not really something you can expect to help win you ball games. But if you do it 3 times in a row like that, then maybe you can.
Yeah, it's one of those mantras that you talk about. You tell pitchers you want to attack the zone, especially with nobody on. Solos won't beat you, but when you string them together and hit 4 like they've done today, it's a different story.
So Brandon Arvidsson will try to put an end to 3 straight solo home runs from LSU hitters. Back to the top of the order for Chris Stanfield. It was 4 home runs for LSU Friday. 3 of them were solo. Now 4 solo shots today. Impressive. And Stanfield not messing around. Arvidsson, who's got that massive breaking ball, chases and swings through it. 0-2 start.
Arvidsson, one of the best breakers in the SEC. When it's going, it is almost unhittable.
Oh yeah, much better feel from Arvidsson this time around. 3-pitch K.
Yeah, with the curveball being as good as it is, it makes the fastball play a tick harder, and right there, you expect another breaker, and then he just 94 fastball right down the middle. It's just a hard AB.
Tennessee and Josh Elander certainly got a lot of questions after that Friday night loss about why was Arvidsson left in there after back-to-back walks. He walked to third. It clearly wasn't his night, but for Tennessee, that Arvidsson is your guy as LSU calls time here. You have to trust a player like Arvidsson, who's now in his 2nd year at the program. Don't have a lot of guys who's been with his staff for longer than just this year. And he has shown you a lot of positives in his Tennessee career. Obviously, looking back on it, hindsight, maybe not the best decision, but you're gonna put your faith in that guy more times than not.
You are season going on.
I'd say it was a very creaky stretch for Vol fans here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium as LSU has put together 4 unanswered runs, all coming from solo home runs. 3 of them happening half inning ago. Cut Tennessee's lead down to 1. For Tennessee, just 3 hits in this game. But it was a big 3rd inning in which they put up 5 runs thanks to 3 LSU errors, the difference so far. Levi Clark down swinging. Zach Cowan has been unreal. That is now 3 2/3. He's only allowed 1 hit. It was the Blaine Brown home run. None of those runs charges earned to him, but since that Blaine Brown home run, no ball has reached.
Now Cowan doing it with the changeup there is the third guy out of the pen. He's just been fantastic and proven today why he's just been as highly scouted as he's been.
It is 11 straight retired for Zach Cowan. And he was put in a situation in which Tennessee had guys on, and he should have been out of that 3rd inning. It was an error that he got a ground ball from Manny Marin. Should have ended that inning clean. Can't even fault the hit that he gave up. Obviously, Blaine Brown, great piece of hitting on a guy who seems to be practically untouchable today. But that is the only blemish for Zach Cowan, and it has been cruise control since.
And the Vols trying to break a streak. They have not won a weekend series game this year where they've given up more than 4 runs. So trying to hold them at bay, it's one of those things. The pitching staff has been fantastic when they've won. Just making sure the offense keeps up.
Great scoop from Dardar and an incredible play for the 2nd out.
And Milam right there shifted all the way over.
Milam.
And that's what you expect from the junior. He's been fantastic all year, and right there, Abernathy with just a little capper that is an awkward one-hopper, backhand, fading away, just perfect throw.
Yeah, that's as clean as it gets. Yeah, Milam all the way basically down the line in right field for that one. 12 straight Vols retired. That's the defense that is routine for Milam at shortstop and second base. Of course, was starting second base his freshman year. In the last 2 years, Milam has been at shortstop. Back to the top for Tennessee, Garrett Wright, who's been aboard twice, a double in the 3rd, and was hit by a pitch in the 1st. Zach Cowan is just been so impressive. Again, coming off one of his best outings of the year last week against Kentucky, picking right back up where he left off.
We talk about the pitchability from Blanco, but Cowan, same way. The fastball isn't going to blow you away. It's 91, 93. It's a very good fastball, but the secondary stuff is fantastic. Being able to flip a slider and a curveball in, and the changeup thrown into righties and lefties.
91 from Cowan. He's pitched 4 innings now in total. You knew you could pencil him into this Sunday, and he has certainly delivered. This is a tough get, though, in Garrett Wright. Again, at this point, if you're Tennessee, you just have to try to disrupt his rhythm. It feels like Garrett Wright being in the leadoff spot, that it feels like a no-brainer for his ability to get on.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys, he's going to give you quality at bats every time he's up there. Work pitches, work a count, and just find a way to do damage or at least get that pitch count up.
Only 3 walks on the year. Wright likes to swing the bat. It's a guy who only walked 24 times last year with Bowling Green. He was 2 years at Bowling Green, had a 406 average, so it's not that he's looking for walks.